You know, it's that question you hear all the time. Maybe you've even thought it yourself when disaster strikes someone you know online. But how? I didn't download anything illegal, I swear. I haven't clicked dodgy links or, visited weird websites. That just feels like something that happens to other people.
Yeah, and that assumption, that feeling of it won't happen to me because I'm careful, that's where things get tricky.
Yeah.
Our sources really hammer this home.
Mm.
You don't actually have to do anything obviously risky like downloading pirated movies or anything.
Hmm.
You can still end up with a backdoor on your system.
Yeah.
It's a real wake-up call.
That's actually, yeah, quite sobering. And it's exactly why today we're doing a deep dive into, well, probably one of the most feared cyber threats around, ransomware.
Definitely up there.
Our mission here is simple: cut through the noise, pull out some genuinely surprising facts from the sources we've looked at, and really equip you with a clear understanding of what this threat is all about. We want you to walk away truly informed.
And, linking that to protecting yourself, there's a key piece of advice right off the bat from our sources. While, okay, 100% safety isn't really achievable online,
Right. That's probably true.
there's one simple thing you can do: enabling multi-factor authentication, MFA. That alone can slash your chances of these kinds of attacks by over 54%.
54%. Wow. Just for enabling MFA.
Yep. It's a huge reduction for one step.
Okay, that's a massive takeaway already. So let's unpack ransomware. We hear the word constantly, but what is it fundamentally? What's actually going on when, a system gets hit?
Well, at its heart, ransomware is a type of malware, malicious software.
Hmm.
And its main goal is to either encrypt your files, basically scramble them so you can't read them, or just lock your entire device up.
Yeah.
Then comes the demand: pay us money, usually in cryptocurrency, and we'll give you the key to unlock your files or your device. It's digital kidnapping, essentially.
Holding your digital life hostage. So what are the key ingredients? What defines a ransomware attack?
Well, number one is the encryption. That scrambling process that makes files, folders, sometimes the whole system, totally unusable. You click on a file, it's just gibberish.
Right.
Second, the demand for payment. Almost always cryptocurrency Bitcoin is common because
Right.
it's harder to trace. Gives the criminals some anonymity.
And then there's this thing, I've heard it called double extortion. That sounds even worse.
Oh, it is. Yeah, double extortion is a nasty evolution.
Right.
Modern ransomware groups like Revil was famous for this. They don't just encrypt your data anymore.
Okay.
Before they lock it up, they steal a copy. They exfiltrate your sensitive data.
Oh, right.
Then they hit you with a second threat: pay the ransom, or we'll leak or sell your stolen data,
Yeah.
personal stuff, client lists, medical records, whatever they found on the dark web.
That's terrifying. So even if you could somehow recover the files, your secrets are still out there.
Exactly. It adds a whole new layer of pressure.
So how does this nasty stuff actually get onto people's computers in the first place?
It uses a few common routes. The classic phishing email is still huge. You click a bad link or open a malicious attachment and bam.
Mm-hmm.
It can also get in by exploiting weaknesses, vulnerabilities in software that hasn't been updated, or sometimes through weak points in a network itself. We've even seen it hidden inside infected software updates, which is really sneaky.
Are there different types? Or is it all just encryption?
There are variations, yeah. You've got the standard encrypting kind, like CryptoLocker was.
Yeah.
Then there's locking ransomware that just throws up a screen blocker. You can't use the computer at all.
Okay.
And then, perhaps the most sinister, which we'll touch on later with NotPetya, is wiper malware. It looks like ransomware, asks for money, but its real goal is just to destroy everything, delete files, wreck the system.
Oh, man.
And the key thing is, these guys are always changing tactics, always evolving to get around defenses.
So, okay, it's on the system, it's doing its thing. What does the victim actually experience? Is it like an alarm bell goes off?
Not usually, not right away. The initial infection can be silent. Your files look fine for a while.
Yeah.
It's only after the encryption finishes, which might take minutes or hours depending on how much data you have, that you notice. Suddenly, all your file names are weird random letters or have a strange extension, and you try to open them. Nothing, just errors.
That must be a horrible moment.
It's a real gut punch. That's when you know it's happened, they're encrypted, and you can't get them back yourself.
And that's usually when the ransom note pops up.
Exactly. You'll find these text files, often named something obvious like RAID me or how to decrypt, scattered in every folder.
What do they say?
They're designed to scare you. Lots of threats, maybe a price, a unique ID for your case, and instructions. Usually telling you to use the Tor browser to contact them anonymously and demanding payment in Bitcoin, often with a ticking clock.
Okay, so you're staring at this note. Panic sets in. What's the absolute number one piece of advice from the sources? What should you definitely not do?
Right, crucial moment. The sources are unanimous. Do not reply to the note. Don't try to negotiate or contact the attackers yourself.
Why not?
Well, first, engaging might make things worse. But the main thing is, your immediate first step should be contacting a cybersecurity professional right away. They can assess the damage, figure out what kind of ransomware it is, and advise on next steps, especially with that double extortion risk.
Which leads to that awful question, pay or not pay? The FBI has a clear position here, doesn't it?
They do. The FBI strongly advises against paying the ransom.
And the logic behind that.
Several reasons. First, paying is no guarantee you'll get your data back. Seriously. Many victims pay and get nothing, or the decryption key doesn't work properly. And with double extortion, even if you pay, they might still sell or leak your stolen data anyway.
Right, the damage is already done in a way.
Exactly. Second, and this is huge, paying the ransom just encourages them. It proves their business model works, funds their future operations, and leads to more attacks against everyone. It fuels the whole criminal enterprise. The FBI actually has a site, IC3, where U.S. residents especially should report attacks. This helps them track these groups.
Okay, so paying is generally a bad idea. Prevention is key. Let's talk about building those defenses. What are the must-dos?
Foundational step seems basic, but it's critical. Keep everything updated. Your operating system, your applications, browser plugins, all of it. Patch, patch, patch. Attackers love exploiting old, known vulnerabilities. Updates close those doors.
Makes sense. What about anti-malware software? Still important?
Definitely still important, yes. But it's not a magic shield on its own.
Yeah.
You absolutely need good, reputable anti-malware software installed and keep it updated too so it recognizes the latest threats. Malwarebytes gets a specific mention in our sources as a solid choice.
Okay. And you mentioned phishing earlier. The human element seems huge here.
Absolutely massive. User training is invaluable. Teaching people what phishing emails look like, how to spot suspicious links, understanding those social engineering tricks that can stop an attack before it even starts. A savvy user is a great first defense. For businesses, things like network segmentation help too. It basically contains the damage if one part of the network gets hit.
Kind of like fire doors in a building.
Exactly like that. And having an incident response plan, knowing what you'll do if you get hit, how you'll recover data, how you'll communicate, and actually testing that plan regularly, that's vital.
But there was one thing. All our sources seem to practically yell about it. The most critical defense.
Yes. You know what I'm going to say? Backups. Backups, backups, backups.
That was it. Why so critical?
Because once ransomware encrypts your files, that's it. Game over for those files unless you have the key. There's no magic software that can undo strong encryption. It's mathematically designed to be unbreakable without the specific key.
So your photos, your documents, everything, if they're encrypted, they're gone unless you pay, which you shouldn't,
Or you restore from a backup. This is non-negotiable. You need regular, recent backups of everything important, your whole system, ideally.
And how should you do backups? Just copy files to another drive?
The best practice recommended is actually a two-pronged approach. Use both an encrypted cloud storage service and a physical external drive. And critically, that external drive should be stored securely offline, disconnected from your computer and network when you're not actively backing up.
So the ransomware can't reach it.
Precisely. Relying only on software updates just isn't enough. You need that separate, safe, disconnected copy of your data. It's your ultimate safety net. If you get hit, you can wipe the infected machine clean and restore everything from your backup.
Okay, that's crystal clear. Backups are the lifeline. Now, let's look at some history of ransomware hall of shame, if you will.
Yeah.
It's worth noting, our sources say a whopping 91% of ransomware reported by managed service providers hits Windows PCs.
Yeah, Windows users definitely need to be extra vigilant with these steps.
So first up, WannaCry. 2017, that one was huge news.
Oh, WannaCry was a bombshell. It spread incredibly fast, hit something like 150 countries, over 200,000 computers.
Yeah.
Big names got caught. FedEx, Telefonica in Spain, Nissan, Renault. The estimated damage was around $4 billion.
$4 billion. How did it spread so fast, so globally?
It used a very potent vulnerability in a core Windows networking component called the SMB protocol server message block. That's how computers share files and printers.
Okay.
The specific flaw was nicknamed Eternal Blue. And the really scary part, it allowed WannaCry to spread like a worm, jumping from machine to machine automatically across networks, no user clicking required.
Wow. And where did eternal blue come from?
Well, this is the unsettling part. It's widely believed Eternal Blue was a cyber weapon, an exploit, developed by the U.S. National Security Agency, the NSA.
Seriously?
Yeah. And it was leaked by a mysterious hacking group called the Shadow Brokers. Sort of ironic, isn't it? A government-developed tool ends up causing global chaos.
Mm.
There's also a weird twist where a security researcher accidentally found a kill switch, a specific web domain it checked for that helped slow it down. Bizarre flaw in its design.
Crazy story. Okay, next. GandCrab, 2018 to 2019. This one changed the game in a different way, right? Business model-wise.
It really did. GandCrab pioneered ransomware as a service,
Yeah.
RAS.
RIAS, like software as a service.
Exactly, but for crime. The GandCrab operators basically rented out their ransomware toolkits. This meant criminals who weren't super technical could now launch sophisticated ransomware attacks. They just needed to figure out how to infect victims. The ransomware itself was provided.
So it lowered the barrier to entry for cybercrime.
Massively.
Yeah.
Democratized ransomware, you could say. It spread mainly through phishing and things called exploit kits, toolkits like GrandSoft and RIG that automate finding and exploiting software vulnerabilities.
And the impact.
Huge financial impact. Estimates are over $2 billion extorted from victims before the gang dramatically announced they were retiring in 2019, claiming they'd made enough money.
Wow, just walked away. Okay, finally, NotPetya, also 2017, like WannaCry. But this one had a different, darker motive.
Yes, NotPetya was distant. It looked like ransomware. It demanded a ransom. But analysis quickly showed it wasn't really about the money.
What was it about then?
Destruction. It was effectively a wiper, designed to cause maximum damage to permanently destroy data and cripple systems, not hold them hostage for payment. The ransom demand was almost like a disguise.
A wiper disguised as ransomware. Who was it aimed at?
It's widely believed it was initially targeted at Ukraine, but it was so effective, so virulent, it couldn't be contained. It spread globally, causing massive collateral damage way beyond its intended target zone.
And the cost was even higher than WannaCry.
Astronomical. Estimated $10 billion in damages. That makes it the most costly known cyber attack ever. Huge companies like Maersk, the shipping giant, they reported losing around $300 million alone. Merck, the pharma company, also got hit extremely hard. Shows how widespread the impact was.
$10 billion. And technically, how did it spread and do so much damage?
Like WannaCry, it also used that leaked Eternal Blue exploit to get in and spread. Once inside a network, it moved fast. Crucially, it encrypted the master boot record, the MBR, on hard drives.
The MBR, what's that?
It's like the very first thing your computer reads when it starts up, telling it how to load the operating system. If the MBR is encrypted, the computer simply can't boot. It becomes a brick.
Ouch.
And it didn't stop there. It also used other tools, like Mimikatz, which is famous for stealing login credentials directly from a computer's memory. This allowed NotPetya to grab passwords and use them to spread even further across networks, infecting machine after machine within an organization. It was brutally efficient.
So we've really dug deep here. Ransomware mechanics, the evolution, the victim experience, defenses. It's clear this isn't just some simple virus. It's sophisticated, it's constantly changing, and it's incredibly damaging.
It absolutely is. But, understanding how it works, how it spreads, why things like MFA and especially those offline backups are so vital that understanding is power. It helps you move from feeling like a potential victim to someone who has a solid plan to protect their digital life.
That's a great way to put it. It really shifts the perspective, which maybe leads to a final thought for you to ponder. Given how sophisticated these attacks are, and that even normal actions like software updates could potentially be vectors, how does that change your personal approach to digital safety? Does it go beyond just avoiding the obviously risky stuff online? Something to think about.